Turning to a wrap of your top stories of the day, Central Avenue in Plaza Midwood is shut down right now after an overnight car crash. These are some live pictures from the scene as they get ready to move that car out of the area. You can see the officers there. In fact, one of them trying to break what looks like the window there on the driver's side of that vehicle. No word yet on when the road is expected to be open. Officials tell us that driver had minor injuries. Our Brittany Van Voorhees has your workarounds right now. Brittany?
So Central Avenue East at Hawthorne Lane, the best workaround here is going to be to take Charlottetown Avenue to Hawthorne Lane. That way you can get around this incident altogether. And if you need to get back on Central Avenue East, you can eventually turn right there onto Central Avenue. You'll be right on your way through the heart of Plaza Midwood.
All right, we have on and off rain possible today, and then more showers Thursday evening, Friday evening, winding down Saturday, a perfect day on Sunday. Much warmer next week, though.
Earlier, we talked about how research shows dog owners have a greater relationship with some of their dogs than some of the family members. So all morning, we've been asking for your pictures. And as I always say, you guys crash the servers. This morning, no different. Take a look at all these good-looking dogs.
So many great-looking dogs there. Alex, we see you, Riker, Butler, Toby, Maya, Aurora. Wonderful. All right, we got to say goodbye. Your pets are all beautiful.
We'll have them over on WCNC Plus. Live right now at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We continue to follow breaking news in Plaza Midwood, where Central Avenue is shut down after a late night crash.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Vane has been there live all morning. So, Richard, just a few moments ago on the broadcast side, we saw them starting to take that car away. What's the latest?
Yeah, that pretty much is some good news because that might mean that this section of Central Avenue will be open again. Let me step out of the way, and as you mentioned, we saw a tow truck coming here. Police have been here all morning, all night actually. This event actually happening about 11:30 last night when that car slammed into the side of the Overton Row apartment building right here on Central Avenue, right near Hawthorne Lanes, Hawthorne I should say. Right now you can see that tow truck is right here in the process of trying to get that car removed. Duke Energy crews had been here throughout the night getting that power line. There were 2 power poles that car actually slammed into, apparently as it was speeding away from police. Some neighbors had been talking about the fact that they heard choppers. Some people say they actually saw choppers late last night. So apparently this was the result of a chase. Apparently, we haven't confirmed that from CMP, but we do know they were trying to stop the person who was driving that car that slammed into the side of that building. Let me say that again. Police were trying to stop the car. We do know that it slammed into the side of the building. Don't know confirmation about a chopper being up, but a number of residents said that the police were here so fast that they thought it was some sort of chase as well. As you see that car being loaded right onto that tow truck so they can take it away. Now, CMPD says that they have taken someone into custody who was involved in this crash. We don't know what charges that person is facing. We do know from a number of residents that they saw a man who was about a few yards away from that car after the impact into the side of that building. Residents who were inside the building say they got an email telling them about the crash and there might be some power outages. For its part, Duke said that at one point 450 customers were without power last night, but we can tell you they have new power poles up, at least 2 new power poles and power lines back up. We don't know the extent of any damage or if how much power has been restored or what time it's been restored. We do know there people were without power starting about 11:30 last night when this whole incident started. But the fact that they're now removing the car means that they could have this part of Central Avenue open very shortly. Of course, we're going to keep you posted here online throughout the day with this situation. Again, we'll have much more updates as this continues to evolve. But for right now, we are right here in Plaza Midwood. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Richard, so it appears, and correct me if I'm wrong, it appears it's an apartment building behind you. So that also means anybody could have been in there at any time, but it appears nobody was hurt there on the inside at least.
Absolutely correct. As a matter of fact, a couple of residents were saying it there. If I'll step out of the way again, there are benches that are right there. If Ruben can pan in, you can possibly see their benches. Some people say they sit on those benches, that he took the person who was driving that car actually ran over benches where people sit. People were commenting throughout the night that this is an area, well, you know, people who've been in this area for years or just recently know that you can walk down this area. It's a very crowded area of town. People walk at that hour, just walk, hang out, and this could have been a much worse situation. We could have a much different story. Yeah, the car took out benches. Fortunately, the damage to the apartments, while there is some damage, it does not look as significant as one might say. One resident said that they were asleep, didn't hear anything. They got that email in the morning. They told our own Ruben Wallace that they didn't hear any damage. They slept through the night. There were a couple stories up. Somebody else told somebody else who talked to us, and so that's third party, that they heard the loud sound of the impact of the car. But you can see the damage of the car that it's made just from the video that Ruben is shooting right now. So those significant damage, but this could have been a lot worse than it is. It's pretty bad as it is, but fortunately, no innocent bystanders were hurt in this incident.
All right, now you can see the cat sign there for a bus stop. So thankfully the timing, no one was there. Richard, thank you so much for that report. Absolutely. Our Brittany Van Voorhees is standing by with us now on how the commute is shaping up this morning, including that workaround from the scene there on Central Avenue.
Yeah, so it's Central Avenue East between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue. It's only about 2 blocks or so, but this is a big interchange getting in and out of Plaza Midwood, especially this time of the morning. If you want to take the interstate, 277 outer loop and avoiding Central Avenue exit is an option, but if you want to avoid the interstate altogether, Charlottetown Avenue to Hawthorne Lane is going to be your best workaround to avoid the highway, especially this time of day. 277 is often very busy and very backed up. If you need to get back on Central Avenue, that would be your option to then turn right and get back on that same road. Other than that, you can take Hawthorne Lane no matter how high, how low you need to go, and again, avoid those issues altogether. We do have a crash, though, that just happened a little bit ago, South Boulevard at Old Pineville. Of course, we know Old Pineville is the roadway here that kind of veers off near where that light rail crossover there is, but if you're going right, heading eastbound, that will actually take you on Scaly Bark that eventually gets you to Park Road. Now, here's the issue here. We do know right now that this is an injury incident, have not gotten any more updates, but looking at some of the images, it does look like a potential pedestrian issue, if not a motorcycle issue. Very hard to see still from the fog and the fact that some of those images were taken earlier this morning when it was a little darker. Only other incident we have active right now just happened here just off of 85 there near Highway 29. Of course, we'll have updates throughout the morning. Christopher.
Good morning, everybody. As Brittany mentioned, yes, there is some patchy, dense fog from place to place. About a half mile right here on Monroe, about 1.5 miles in Concord. So that's where we're seeing really the worst of it. Here is the beautiful downtown Monroe. I'm, of course, being sarcastic here, but Monroe really is a beautiful downtown. Just right now, not the greatest because that fog's actually gotten a little bit better compared to what it was about 30 minutes ago. Below normal day overall. I did move us up to 74. I think that we get into the lower to the mid 70s today because there's going to be a lot more drier periods than wet for most of the area. High temperatures about 74 to 75, but then a lot cooler as I think we have a little cold air damming that happens up where that cooler rain cooled air really butts up against the mountains, so it doesn't really allow a big warm up. Today overall I think it's going to be cloudy, but there will be some bright spots here and there. We're tracking a line of showers, not seeing any reported lightning with this, but this is going to hold together. This line right here is already weakening, and the main reason why, the front. And we're going to explain the why a little bit more coming up, but this front is a big factor. As that moves off towards the southwest, this rain band can only last so long along it. So that pushes its way just southwest of the area, keeping more rain a little bit more prevalent off towards the western side of the Carolinas through this morning, heading into the afternoon. Then we have some developing showers. This is a very slow moving system because the system really isn't moving. So some areas will see rain for several hours, but then as you're seeing down towards the southeast, if you're watching from Wadesboro, Rockingham, Cheraw, you might not really have any rain until later on this evening. And then that's the best chance for rain really south of I-85 as another trough, another area of low pressure starts to move back in, and that rain could linger through the overnight, keeping things damp for your Friday morning. So our day and night rain chances, they're actually divided into 2 categories, are much higher tonight and on Friday night. And the reason why, these storm systems look to really hit their peak at that point, or they continue to keep going at that point as well. You can see our futurecast starting on Friday morning. It's going to be another day that we have some spotty showers. I think it's a little bit sunnier tomorrow, but the best chance for rain right here heading into the latter part of your Friday evening. I think what's going to happen here is we're going to have a decaying thunderstorm system that's going to push through the area, seeing some heavy rain that could linger into your Saturday morning. And then here comes the last hurrah, seeing some scattered showers during the middle of your Saturday afternoon. Once you get to about 5 to 7, I think we see the final batch of those move through. So that's good news for the Charlotte FC game if you're going to that. Sunday, perfectly dry. You're looking at lots of sunshine. We mix of cloud and sunshine for the afternoon, mid 70s, really right where we should be this time of year. But that is a brief cool down because before you know it, we're back to 80 degrees, the lower 80s. And then next Wednesday looks to be the hottest day of the week, even challenging 90 degrees once again. As I mentioned, this is the what. We're going to be mentioning the why. Maybe you haven't seen rain over the last couple of days while others saw a whole lot more. See you soon.
Chris, thanks. Time now, 7:09 right here on WCNC Plus. By the way, on the lower hand right side of your screen, you might see occasionally in the next few moments the scene there on Central Avenue that we've been talking about. There it is. So you can stay up to date with the very latest there as folks hope to have it reopened sometime soon for the morning commute. Now let's go to some new video overnight that shows a massive crowd still lining up to pay their respects to the late Pope. St. Peter's Basilica remained open past midnight to allow thousands to see his body, many waiting for hours to enter the basilica. But people say the experience was surreal.
Yeah, walking in there, it was very emotional. I think he was a leader who really loved people, and I think he wanted to spread that message of just love and compassion. And walking in there, it was so silent, but you could feel how much people really cared about him and how much love there was for this man.
Now let's go to live pictures inside St. Peter's. You can see the coffin there of the Pope there on the left-hand side of your screen, outlined in red. It's about 1:10 in the afternoon there in Rome and the Vatican. Crowd still backed up there. The Pope's going to lie there in state for 2 more days ahead of his funeral on Saturday. There are so many ceremonies to honor the Pope here at home as well. WCNC Charlotte's Trisha Woodard went to a special mass in Huntersville and shares how many honored the late Pope's dream.
Well, many people who came out not only reflected on the life of Pope Francis, but also on the mission that still remains, carrying on a legacy for the next generation. The sun, it beamed down on this church and spilled through these stained glass windows. But the brightest light wasn't the sun outside. It was the one glowing inside. The echoes and hymns representing not only a mass, but also a mirror, a reflection of the late Pope Francis, a reflection of the mission he stood for.
Where we're called to reflect upon the purpose and the meaning of this one man's life and how he has impacted all of us.
Pews filled with heavy hearts, their stories were different, but the faith in a leader like Pope Francis brought them here.
I admired and respected Pope Francis so much. He just was a people's pope, and he was for everyone.
Pope Francis represents something that we so much need in our lives every day.
To leave an imprint on all of us.
The message was clear. Live like Pope, a man they say was filled with faith even in his failing health.
This is a man who disregarded his doctor's last wishes, telling them that he felt he needed to be in the midst of the people on Easter Sunday.
Many were called to action to be of service and lead with love, call that for many was not only heard, but also answered.
He's laid a lot of groundwork on how we need to move forward in society.
Trisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
An update this morning on the state Supreme Court battle between Jefferson Griffin and Allison Riggs. A federal judge is ordering election officials to wait before throwing out thousands of votes in the race for North Carolina's Supreme Court. It's a win for incumbent Democrat Allison Riggs. It comes weeks after another judge gave Republican Jefferson Griffin the green light to challenge those votes. For now, this new ruling blocks that decision. It allows Riggs to appeal and argue that tossing those ballots would violate voter rights. In Washington, President Trump signing several new executive orders taking aim at education.
He was in the Oval Office yesterday with his Secretary of Education as he signed more orders aimed at dismantling diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. One of the orders instructs the Education Department to stop efforts that ensure equity and discipline for public schools. Previous guidance directed schools not to disproportionately punish minority students. Former CMS teacher Annette Albright was in attendance for yesterday's signing. Back in 2016, there was controversy over her release from the district after she stepped in to stop a school fight. Albright praised the president's actions.
I'm so honored to be here. This has been an 8-year journey for me to raise awareness to the violence that's in public schools and the critical need to address violence in public schools. Again, been doing it 8 years because most administrations like to keep the violence hidden. We have 3 students that should be here with us today. We have Austin McCaff, I'm sorry if I say his name wrong, Serenity Baker, and Nizir Taylor from Charlotte, North Carolina, who was shot in the back as he was getting off of a school bus because they thought he was a part of a big brawl that happened inside a public high school. So this is very important and critical legislation that we have to keep our educators safe, we have to keep our students safe, and public schools have to be safe environments.
These heroes, Mr. President, are extraordinary.
We brought you her entire announcement during our live Impact News stream right here on WCNC Plus. The app, as you know, free to download.
A health alert to tell you about this morning. Public health officials are warning that recent federal funding cuts are putting North Carolina at risk of the $230 million cut by DOGE. That's the Department of Government Efficiency. More than $2 million was supposed to help finish the state's public health lab. That lab tests for serious illnesses and had to cut staff and move its operations to smaller, less equipped spaces. The director says they can no longer fully respond to major outbreaks unless they get more funding.
7:15 right now on WCNC Plus. Happening today, the countdown is on and Panther fans are watching closely.
We are just hours away from the NFL draft and Carolina has some decisions to make. What the Panthers might do tonight, it's really anyone's guess. General Manager Dan Morgan said he might be willing to trade out the team's number 8 overall pick, but the Panthers will still likely make a pick in the first round. Everyone knows the Panthers need help on the defensive line, so some top names to watch if they stay at 8. There could be Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham and a name that we've heard a lot of, Georgia linebacker Jalen Walker. He is a local star from Salisbury and he won the Butkus Award.
Of course, we have got you covered for tonight's draft. You can catch our special right here on WCNC Plus. The sports team is going to be joined by the folks over at Locked On to bring you special coverage. That's later tonight, kicking off all at 7 p.m. The draft at 8 p.m. Tell your friends and family. Watch right here on WCNC Plus tonight.
They need somebody to get sacks, so I think that they lean that direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they had the least or the second least amount of sacks in the league last year. So they just need somebody to sack them.
There you go.
So you hear the names like Walker, I think it's going to trend that direction. But honestly, you just never know.
No one knows.
You never know. Even these experts you hear, nobody knows. But we'll find out tonight. Pretty excited about it.
It is very.
Yes.
How about the weather for draft night?
Well, if you're inside, you're just fine. But I think that's going to be our best chance for rain. But I was mentioning earlier, I was telling you the what. But oftentimes we like to raise your weather IQ with the why. So let's get right to it. So this is your weather IQ why. And some people are asking, why hasn't my house gotten rain this week? And that's a great question. So some areas have received a lot, others barely anything at all. And it's all just about the positioning of the front and with these scattered showers. As you notice, we've seen a lot more activity where the front's been hanging out a little bit more down towards the southwest. That's where you're seeing some of those brighter shades of greens. Outside of that, it's just been a few passing showers. We saw one on Tuesday, not on Wednesday. It's been a little bit more prevalent off towards the west. And then some areas have barely recorded anything because the storms simply haven't met you. Now, for a thunderstorm or just rain to pop up in general, you need the moisture, you need something to drive it all up. And it's really the heat and moisture rising up that is what makes that rain and clouds just in general. So really our storm fuel has been limited. It has been as humid today. We have that, but it's about that stationary front. Where is that front setting up? And over the last few days, it's been mainly down towards the south. So that's why we've been seeing more widespread rain down to the south and southwest as opposed to our area. So now this front is actually over us, draped across the area here. That's even reported some hail in recent hours down towards the south. And I think throughout today, we're going to see some developing showers mainly off towards the west, a little bit closer to this axis. And then we'll see more widespread rain a little bit later on this evening. Again, on your Friday morning, I think we have some lingering showers. But as long as the front is kind of around, it's going to create more widespread rain. But that front actually leaves us later on tonight and tomorrow morning. That's going to open things up for just the usual rising moisture pop-up shower or storm. But most of your Friday afternoon looks to be fairly dry besides a few really spotty rain showers. It's a much better chance later on your Friday evening, heading into Saturday morning, that you could have some leftover thunderstorms pushing into the area, and that just keeps a few hours of rain. Now, once you get into your Saturday morning, I think we're seeing the last passage of that one batch of rain showers, and then the final hurrah, the final area of showers move through during your Saturday afternoon. Right now, it looks about noon to 5 that we're going to see most of these. Notice how they're not covering the entire area, but these are the ones that kind of shock you because it's a decent day, mixed of clouds and sunshine. You're feeling it lower to the mid 80s, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have a quick shower. But those are great because you can go back inside, maybe eat a sandwich, you can go back outside and resume your day. I think once you get to about that 5 to 7 o'clock hour, those are done. So as the sun is setting, we should be clear across the area. So another look at our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Sunday's my pick of the weekend. Saturday's not bad besides those brief rain chances, but it's just perfect. It's a great spring day before temperatures back to 90 degrees the middle of next week. Brittany, what do we need to know about traffic so far this morning? How's it going?
Well, things have been very, very active. This is our traffic live picture there. If you want to go to our traffic cameras, I think that we did have an image of what was going on. If we can take that full screen, that would be amazing. This, of course, is Central Avenue here between Hawthorne Lane. Yeah, if we could take that wide, that'd be great, just so we can kind of see a closer picture as to what's happening. But this Central Avenue between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue right now. On the bottom right portion of your screen, you can see a smaller image of what's actively happening. This was a different view sent to us by NCDOT, so you can kind of see it from the top. Essentially what happened is last night, 11 p.m., a car crashed into the Overton Row Apartments. That's in Plaza Midwood. As this happened, it looks like it at least damaged one power pole, potentially more than that, causing pretty significant outages in this area, about 450 at the peak time. Now, Central Avenue is still closed between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue because of this, and will likely remain closed for at least a few more hours as crews get everything back up to speed. So your best workaround, if you typically take Central Ave in or out of Plaza Midwood, is going to be Charlottetown Avenue to Hawthorne Lane. That way you can go north and kind of get all the way around this all together. If you're heading from uptown into Plaza, you can get back on Central Avenue and you're pretty much good to go, as that closure is here versus over here. Now, that is not the only active issue that we have out there right now. Right now, this is a live picture here, I-77 north and southbound just before Tyvola Road, so right around mile marker 4.8. Right now, there is an injury incident right now blocking the middle lane of 77 northbound at exit 5. This is the current slowdown behind it. You can see 77 backed up from Tyvola all the way past the state line. Pretty significant traffic delays there in the red and the orange shading. So it's the middle lane that's closed. Of the three, however, it's causing major problems, probably not just because of just classic folks on the road, but also onlooking delays. We know how it is, especially this time of day. Last incident we have, South Boulevard at Old Pineville or Scaly Bark, depending on which way you're going. Right now, we know that this is an injury incident. Our team is working to get more information, but judging by some of those photos, potentially a pedestrian, potentially a motorcycle involved. There was a lot of fog and some, of course, darker conditions as this was taken about an hour or so ago. So our team continues to work hard to bring you answers on that. And of course, more information. We'll bring it to you here on WCNC Plus, as well as on the free WCNC Charlotte mobile app.
Thanks, Brittany. A national company is stepping up to help local kids get new shoes. WCNC Charlotte's Larry Sprinkle was there to see the heartwarming donation.
And he shares why this is more than just a pair of new kicks for these kids.
There are hundreds of excited kids here at Walter G. Byers Elementary. They're getting a brand new pair of sneakers, compliments of Thomas's and Operation Warm.
We know the name Thomas's from their English muffins and bagels. Today, they've teamed up with the nonprofit Operation Warm to provide shoes for kindergarten through 6th graders in North Charlotte's Greenville neighborhood.
We want every kid to get a nice new pair of shoes, and it generates some excitement for them. It's a great atmosphere.
Feet are measured and sneakers are chosen.
I'm getting some new sneakers and I like them.
Erin Barksdale Cole is the principal at Walter G. Byers and says that over 30% of the students live in a homeless situation.
We have a large homeless population, but our kids are thriving. They are meeting and exceeding their goals, and they have just a lot of joy. And anything that we can do to make sure that they are supported and well taken care of, will absolutely do that.
Lozana Brew from Operation Warm says the organization actually manufactures what they provide in over 4,000 communities across the United States.
Our mission is just to provide warmth, confidence, and hope to kids in under-resourced schools. And it's priceless, man, to let them know that people care, that people care and that people are there that just to be there for them. We love to see them have a good time, smile, and have comfort, because that's big as a kid, to run around and have comfort.
Every kid with a new pair of shoes and a bag to go will leave the gym with a big smile.
A lot of them, it may be their first time getting brand new shoes. To feel like they are a normal student, they're not, being outcasted, they're not being seen as different, but they're seen equal across the board. And that they're not just a number, that somebody sees them, somebody understands them, and we meet our kids right where they are.
At Walter G. Byers School, Larry Sprinkle, WCNC Charlotte.
I mean, they get the shoes and they get Larry Sprinkle all in one place.
I was gonna say, fantastic.
What's not to like? All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We'll have another check of your forecast and traffic, including the latest on that breaking news out of Plaza Midwood. That's coming your way in just a couple minutes right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning to you. Meteorologist Chris Mulcahy here. Temperatures reaching the mid-70s today, lower 70s for some, 60s in the foothills, and temperatures waiting to warm up. And we will see some bright spots, but all in all, those clouds are really going to try to win out today. More rain to the west initially, then we'll have some scattered showers and thunderstorm chances during the mid to late afternoon. Better chance around Charlotte in the I-85 corridor right around sunset through this coming evening, and then we'll have on and off rain chances to come for the near future. On and off rain Friday, best chance Friday night into Saturday morning. Then the last showers fly on Saturday before we have a perfect spring day on Sunday for another big warm up. Brittany, what's going on traffic wise? It's been busy for you.
Yeah, it has. The biggest incident issue is still going to be this crash here that happened last night. A car crashing into the Overton Row apartments there in Plaza Midwood. Working to get that car out as we saw some of those live pictures a little bit ago. This is a view from higher up, just about an hour or so sent to us. Injury incident did cause issues with power this morning as we had about 450 folks out of power here. This is Central Avenue East at Hawthorne Lane. We are backed up Central Avenue East from Hawthorne Lane toward Louise Avenue. Your best workaround here is going to be Charlottetown Avenue, taking that to Hawthorne. Eventually you can get back on Central if you need. Otherwise, you stay on the same road.
Streaming live right now on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We continue to follow that breaking news in Plaza Midwood, where Central Avenue is shut down after a late night crash.
Let's get right out to WCNC Charlotte to Richard Devane. He has been there all morning long. All right, Richard, bring us up to speed. What do things stand right now?
Right now, guys, let me just stand right here and tell you right now, Ruben is getting a shot as they're about to move that car that was involved in that crash that caused the shutdown. Right now, live television folks, or live streaming, I should say, is you're going to get a first-hand look at that car involved in that crash live right here on the stream. That's what's left of that car that slammed into that building as you're looking right here live on the stream. As that car is being taken away, obviously it's going to go, it's now evidence in all of this. As we come back here, you can see it is not going to be long before they actually are able to open up this portion of Central Avenue right here, shut it down from Hawthorne. Just about a block, they had to reroute it after they tried to stop that car yesterday evening. This has been something that's been going on all evening. They tried to stop the car last night and it didn't stop, and instead drove off and crashed into a couple of power poles, knocking out power at one point, Duke tells us, to some 450 customers. Duke crews are working throughout the night still on scene right here this morning, but they've gotten those 2 power poles back up, power lines back up. We will check and to see when all of their power has been restored. We think it has been. We don't know the extent of the damage to the building. We do know that it's probably minimal at this time. As we come back here live, they're going to remove some of this debris. The good news in all of this, no one seriously injured. We do know there was a person inside that car has been taken away last night. Of course, we'll get more information, including the damage to the building, and try and talk to some folks a little bit later on and give you some information about what they have to say. We'll have all that coming up in just a little bit. But for now, we're right here live. We're in Plaza Midwood. Guys, we'll talk to you and have something more in a little bit. But for now, we're right here in Plaza Midwood. We'll send it back to you.
And just the timing of all of this. I mean, we saw the car being taken away very mangled, but at a different time of day could have been a much worse situation.
Worse with people living there and the bus stop, as you pointed out as well. All right, let's bring in Brittany. She's taking a look at some alternate routes all morning long. I mean, Brittany, we say only 2 blocks, but when it's a thoroughfare like Central Avenue that thousands of people drive every single day, it's a big pain.
Yeah, you can see all of the crews here kind of blocking both of those sides. And as you mentioned, Ben, it is a big thoroughfare for folks heading in and out of Plaza Midwood, between Plaza, especially in Uptown. Yes, there are interstates nearby, but you kind of have to take Central Avenue in a lot of cases to even get there in the first place. So it's Central Avenue East at Hawthorne Lane. Here's Hawthorne Lane, here's Central Ave. Right now, the closure is between Louise Avenue and Hawthorne Lane. Your best workaround here is to take Hawthorne Lane to Charlottetown Avenue or Charlottetown Avenue to Hawthorne Lane, just to avoid having to go way, way, way out of your way, but still it's out of the way nonetheless. 277 on the outer loop if you're trying to get from Uptown into Plaza, also an option, but you want to avoid the exit for Central Avenue with everything you have. Other incidents on 77, both north and southbound, causing some minor slowdowns, but this is really the biggest impact so far today, and has been the biggest impact that is so far this morning for really the majority of the area.
All right, here's what's going on outside. We have fog, we have upper level clouds. We're just trying to collect clouds this morning. Look at Dallas right now, one of my favorite cameras, because it's a great tool that we can see distant storms, what's coming, what's happening up above. This is actually really cool. If you look down here, that's about 800 to 1,000 feet, so you can actually physically see what usually happens when we have fog. Oftentimes it lifts up and then it'll rise up to here and then it starts to burn off. But above our heads, we are seeing some sunshine, but all in all, what you're seeing well off in the distance, it's going to be more of an overcast day, and it's really in the near term and then maybe a little bit later on in the afternoon that we have our best chance for a blue sky, as we're seeing over Dallas. One area that you're not seeing a blue sky is Monroe up to Concord. Look at that. Ooh, this is 2 different angles from the top of the government center. Visibilities actually have improved from where we're looking from that vantage point, and our Futurecast visibility had a little bit of a foggier forecast for the Charlotte area that didn't come to fruition, but it shows that things get much better, easier to see by about 9 to 10 o'clock. And then after that, visibility has actually come down further off towards the west. Why? It's going to rain. Here is the reason why. We have this stationary front that rain's dancing around for the time being. Since this shower area has a lot more moisture and better storm fuel, that's going to continue to rise up. Meanwhile, the front's can actually distance itself from this line. So if you live in York County, the northern part of Lancaster County, even Mecklenburg County, say right around the Pineville over to the Steel Creek area, you could see a very light rain shower from this over the next hour. It's a very slow mover. That's kind of the nature of the game today. Any shower or storm that we have, it's going to be very slow moving. So oftentimes a shower might look like it's coming right for you, but it might exhaust itself before it even gets to you. More showers west of I-77, just where things are setting up. I think the best chance for rain, at least around the Charlotte area, is really north of Charlotte, and really anywhere around the 485 loop up through Statesville. That's where you could have some of the outflows of thunderstorms starting to form some new ones, but the main blast looks to be scattered throughout this evening, where it's another scenario that some areas see a lot of rain while others don't even see a drop. So it could be a day that, oh wow, I didn't see any rain, but just more people are going to see it. So scattered through today and then again on Friday, isolated on Saturday. Really our best rain chances are during the evening and overnight. So that's going to be later this evening, overnight tonight, and then Friday evening, Friday night heading into Saturday. Saturday night though, we are going to be dry. So coming up, we'll talk a little bit more about that weekend forecast when you can expect some passing showers. So I'll see you soon.
36 right now on WCNC Plus. Happening today, Charlotte Douglas, one of the busiest airports in the country, and it's about to get even busier. This weekend, the airport hosting a major job fair with dozens of employers looking to hire on the spot. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live with what you need to know. Destiny.
Yeah, CLT is one of the busiest airports in the country and the world, but it's also one of the largest employers right here in the Carolinas. And this weekend, the airport will be hiring for hundreds of job opportunities, a wide variety of roles, all under one roof. Now, Charlotte Douglas supports more than 184,000 jobs specifically across the Carolinas, and that number is only expected to grow. At this Saturday's job fair, job seekers will find positions ranging from part-time and seasonal roles to full-time and management-level jobs. More than a dozen employers will be hiring. Those include American Airlines, PSA Airlines, the TSA, the City of Charlotte's Aviation Department, as well as retail and food service partners. While airport officials couldn't speak to the specific hiring needs of their tenant partners or federal agencies like the TSA, the rapid growth of CLT and its recent global ranking as the 6th busiest airport shows just how high the demand is for new talent.
We constantly want to keep up with the demand as the airport grows. We are constantly looking for candidates that will help our operations, to construction, to our customer experience, to our department position. So we're really excited about the opportunities that we have.
And those opportunities will be available at this Saturday's job fair. It's not here at the airport, but it's at Bojangles Coliseum from 9 a.m. to noon. And organizers say to just come dressed in business casual, bring multiple copies of your resume, and then also be prepared for those on-the-spot, on-site interviews, conditional offers, as well as some drug testing that may take place during the event. Live this morning at Charlotte Douglas, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Yeah, and just to repeat, as you said, it's over at Bojangles. Don't go to the airport looking for a job because it's not going to be happening there. Bojangles over in East Charlotte. All right, Destiny, thanks.
7:38 now. A night out turned into a nightmare for one Charlotte woman after she says a security guard brutally assaulted her at an uptown bar. Sabrina Campbell says she was out celebrating with friends over the weekend at the Imperial when things took a turn. She tells us she and her friends walked off to use the restroom, but when they tried to return to their spot, the security guard allegedly refused to let them by.
It's like, y'all can't go past, and I'm like, why can't we go past? All I remember after that point was him grabbing my arms and my face hitting something hard.
Campbell says she blacked out after that and had multiple injuries, including a concussion. The bar has since reached out to her with an apology, but Campbell says that's not enough. She says she did talk to police and now wants this investigated to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else.
A 17-year-old facing charges this morning after the deadly shooting of a 16-year-old. It happened Tuesday night at a Rock Hill Quick Trip. WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Riley spoke with city leaders who are seeking solutions to steer teens away from violence like this.
This father of a 7-year-old thinks about how any parent would feel after learning a 16-year-old was shot and killed.
It's really two lives lost, because of course, you have the life that was taken and then you have the life that was given away, thrown away, because of now the consequences they're going to have to face for those momentary, reactions that they had.
The victim was Jaden Reed. The suspect charged as an adult in this case is 17-year-old Carnell Mike. James Ford, the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club of York and Chester counties, works hard to intervene in the lives of young people before it's too late.
What you can't do is you can't undo what you do when you take someone's life.
Ford spoke with us over Zoom while out of town. He hopes kids don't have to go through what he did growing up, where he saw teens going to jail for murder and much more.
But I have mentors, and when those little forks in the road, I had somebody that I could fall back on or think about. Sometimes you don't want to disappoint people.
That's why Ford makes sure kids in his community have a safe place to go after school. They come here to the Teen Center, where the majority of the middle school students can catch the bus after class. Each student is required to answer questions about some of the challenges they face.
I had some interesting answers. I had anything from my parents don't really care about what I do, so I do what I want to do. I had some that was just, they felt so loyal to a gang.
People we spoke to said it's time for parents to be parents and do their part so that another young person doesn't lose their life.
We do have to educate our kids and give them a place where, we recognize that things like this shouldn't be the norm. We should never feel.
Siobhan Riley reporting for us there. Ford also requires students to complete an exit interview. The center is free for teens to use.
It seems that just about everywhere you look, something new is coming to the city of Kannapolis. That's because the city is having explosive growth. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, 40 new businesses have opened in the downtown area. But rapid growth is also creating some growing pains, especially for the city's infrastructure.
In 2021, July of 2021, our Water Sewer Authority of Cabarrus County, WASAC, actually made us aware that we had some constraints, and that's all jurisdictions that WASAC serves. And Kannapolis is 30% of what's processed at that station there. So we actually were made aware that we were going to be limited. So we started proactively planning for allocation for any future projects.
According to Smith, there are 2 expansions planned for the sewer system. One is currently underway. The other still needs to be addressed down the road. That means any future developments won't be able to start for at least 3 to 5 years. The city adds they have just under a dozen developments waiting for allocation right now.
7:43 right now here on WCNC Plus, and we've got some live pictures to show you. This is inside St. Peter's Basilica there in Vatican City, where crowds still coming in by the thousands to say goodbye to Pope Francis. His body there lying in state through tomorrow night, and then according to the church law, his coffin will be closed ahead of his funeral on Saturday. NBC's Jay Gray now at the Vatican with a closer look at the ongoing 9 days of mourning.
The line stretching from St. Peter's Basilica winds through and around its famous square, thousands waiting for hours to spend just a few seconds inside.
Walking in, it's such a surreal place, and it's very holy, and seeing the body and just remembering everything that he stood for is very important.
Important for so many, remembering the humility, kindness, and commitment to the less fortunate and disenfranchised, they say, defined Pope Francis.
He's somebody very close to our hearts, somebody who made the church very accessible to everybody and inclusive to everybody, and like a family member for us. Yeah.
For his church family, specifically 135 Catholic cardinals, his passing brings with it the difficult responsibility of deciding who among them will take his place.
We have to wait to pray and to have our meetings, and then afterwards we decide.
Those meetings, the highly secretive conclave behind the locked doors of the Sistine Chapel. Many here hopeful they will elect a new pope who will continue the mission and message of his predecessor.
And he taught us all how to be Christians and to be human. And we want Pope Francis II now.
As they honor the original. As the first South American and Jesuit elected pope, he took the name Francis to honor St. Francis of Assisi, a 13th century saint, known for his poverty, humility, and pursuit of peace, setting the tone for his 12 years as the leader of the Catholic faith. Jay Gray, NBC News at the Vatican.
Breaking overnight, Russia launched one of its most devastating bombardments on Ukraine since the war began. The combined missile and drone attack killed at least 9 people and injured more than 70. The attack triggered fires, smashed buildings, and buried people under rubble in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. At least 6 children are among the dead. An air raid alert was in effect in the capital for 6 hours. The attack came hours after President Trump said he believed he had struck deals with both sides to end the war. And cleanup is underway this morning in Turkey after a powerful 6.2 magnitude earthquake. Security camera video shows the moment when that quake hit. There were no immediate reports of serious damage, but buildings were evacuated out of precaution. The epicenter of the earthquake was about 50 miles west of Istanbul. One person was reportedly injured after jumping off a balcony when the shaking began.
Some good news this morning on wildfires in New Jersey. Hundreds of firefighters worked around the clock to save thousands of homes in the path of the 12,000-acre blaze. However, some homes remain under threat as of this morning. NBC's Sam Brock reports from the front lines.
After flames ravaged parts of southern New Jersey, bursting onto highways and spawning huge plumes of smoke, Communities under siege, taking solace in avoiding a worst-case scenario.
Folks' homes and lives have been saved, and we've truly averted a major disaster.
Officials say not a single house was damaged nor person injured after some 5,000 evacuated just miles from the Jersey Shore. Some in the chaos of gridlocked streets. Others helping neighbors move beloved animals.
These winds are not helping us today, and the fires are unpredictable, and when you have large animals, it makes it really scary.
The blaze now 40% contained, but some residents remain uneasy.
We're standing on your deck right now, looking at massive plumes of smoke. And you're thinking what?
Never seen that before and never expected that in my entire life.
Brian Frankshin lives in the Lacey Township community, where so many are stunned by the proximity of the smoke column.
We were going to start unpacking because we heard the mandates were lifted, and I don't think I'm going to unpack just yet.
We have that, and then probably over here too.
Homeowners like Chris Muty aren't taking any chances.
What's your biggest concern?
The homes. I mean, the homes are right there. Their fence is all melted. These gentlemen over here, they're really the unsung heroes, I guess, because they found some buckets for us.
The Garden State grateful after a close call. Sam Brock, NBC News, Ocean County, New Jersey.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm loving this Dallas cam. I'm just kind of geeking out, loving the different levels of clouds. This is literally looking on top of what fog often looks like. Fog will burn off, it'll lift up, and then it just turns into a low-level cloud. And then oftentimes to this camera, as we heat up the atmosphere, this continues to rise up. So if you look way up here, you're like, wow, it's going to be a beautiful day. Clouds are going to win out. I think it's really overall a 90% cloud cover, so that's a mostly cloudy to an overcast day. You're able to see at least the bends here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Couldn't see that about 30 minutes ago. But real quick, I want to talk about tomorrow morning technically. You might have seen on your social media, scrolling the internet, saying, hey, you're going to see a smiling sky tomorrow. And what they're meaning is you have the crescent moon and you have a couple of planets that make up this little smiley face. Well, I went to my favorite site that really just tracks and forecasts what the sky is going to look like, and this is the image that popped out. So this is right around 5:15 to 6 o'clock as the sun is rising up, or this is all rising up in the atmosphere. We're just barely going to see it, but dusk is going to mess with it. But the problem with this is it's going to be so low on the horizon. So literally what's going to happen as the moon is rising up, if you're standing directly at the horizon and you put your fist out, that's about 10 degrees. So since it's right below the tree lines for a lot of areas, not everyone's going to see this. You might see collectively, so I just don't want everyone to be disappointed that they don't see the sky smiling down at them. Some will see it, but it's going to be the right conditions. But if you want to go out and check it out, I really think about 5:30 to 6:30 is going to be your best chance just above the tree line. We're looking at some rain further off towards the west. Spartanburg, widespread rain, and this is a slow mover. As you've noticed, over the last hour or so, it has barely moved some, and it's a stationary front. And what do stationary fronts do? Well, they sit. They don't like to move. And then once it starts wiggling a little bit, it's called a quasi-stationary front. And that's exactly what's going to happen. It moves just ever so slightly off towards the south, but it's close enough to trigger more showers closer to Asheville over to Morganton. So I think it's our western zone to see the most rain. For the Charlotte area, if you're going to see rain this afternoon, it's going to come in one of two ways. Either one, you have an isolated shower that comes up from the south this time later in the morning, or you're going to see the outflows of some of these rain showers start to work their way in. Better chance in the northern part of Mecklenburg County, but I think the best chance for rain for Charlotte itself is going to be a little bit later on the evening. But this is going to be another setup that some of you through the entirety of today might not have any rain. Many of us might be sleeping by the time the next round of showers roll in, because as you can see, this little trough moves in, barely moving, keeping rain around into your Friday morning, and then we're almost done, because as we roll forward, spotty showers in the middle of your Friday, seeing heavy rain in certain spots, and then I think the last batch of these widespread showers arrive Saturday morning or early in the morning, and then I think the last chance of at least an isolated shower or thunderstorm is going to be the middle of your Saturday. So don't cancel any plans on Saturday. Just note that you could have a quick downpour that pops up. This is one of those scenarios that we have during the summertime. It's not going to ruin anything. It might just hinder up to an hour, and then after that, things clearing out. And I think that we're pretty much getting the all clear for storms by about 7 o'clock. That is great news if you're going to the Charlotte FC match on Saturday night. We'll be free, still maybe a little bit on the breezy in the backside, and that's going to set us up for a perfect spring day. Mid-70s on Sunday, but if you're more of a summer weather fan, well, we're right back at that as well. around 90 degrees next Wednesday. So a lot of ups and downs, but at least we'll be heading into a drier pattern, even though many of you haven't seen rain over the last couple of days. Brittany?
Well, Chris, we of course have been talking a lot about the crash in Plaza Midwood this morning, but there is another crash that we do have to discuss here. This is South Boulevard and Scaly Bark Road or Old Pineville Road, depending on which way you're going. This crash happened probably about an hour or so ago at this point, involving a pedestrian. What we know right now is that person was transferred with life-threatening injuries to the hospital. We're continuing to work to get more information here. Still causing some delays again at that intersection in Lower South End. So if you need an option to work around it, Tryon Street is a great one, or Park Road is a great one, and that would be north or southbound on both of those roadways. Otherwise, things are starting to pick up, especially on 77 heading northbound into the Charlotte area. Really dense traffic from 485 near the border there in South Carolina, all the way up toward uptown Charlotte. Here's a live picture of what the interstate looks like, both north and southbound. Northbound certainly more active. This is just before Nations Ford Road, so just before exit 4. But we'll continue to track that incident as well as the one happening in Plaza Midwood, still causing delays there on Central Avenue East, coming up throughout the stream on WCNC Plus.
New information for Panthers fans. The Panthers say due to ongoing construction, the team will not welcome fans at this year's training camp in Charlotte nor next year's. Instead, the team will host fans for Fan Fest at Bank of America Stadium on Saturday, August 2nd. Well, check this out. New research says there is one relationship that tops all others, and that's our bond with our dogs.
Researchers say dog owners experience greater relationship satisfaction with their four-legged companions than their actual human family members. The study finds that dog-human bonds most closely resemble a parent-child relationship without as many negative interactions. It's all just further proof that pets play a really big role in nearly every aspect of our lives. So all morning we've been asking you to send us pictures of your four-legged friends, and you never disappoint us when it comes to this. Take a look. Maybe you can spot your pet. We've got the names on there too. I think some great names.
Oh yeah.
Draco, I love the name.
My sweet Marley. I love it. Miss Lola. These are great.
Wyatt Henry, very proper, very British.
Definitely.
I like proper names for
Hattie,
dogs.
It just seems right.
Hattie, that's really cute.
Ooh, Simba, solid.
Oh, so cute. Java's good.
Yeah, and Brittany, you submitted your dog. I saw it earlier. This is just going through a big loop. I think we had over 100 submissions.
Yeah, Petey, a former Tuesday tail wagger. How about that?
Cool.
Hey, Petey.
We'd love to hear that.
Wait, I love the dog staring out the window. My mom has a bulldog, and I feel like Bella always looks just like that. Like, come inside and feed me.
My Maxwell.
And you know, I always feel the need to say this because I'm definitely a dog person. I don't have kids, and no, dogs are not as important as kids. Nobody says that. But I think the point of the survey is that you just have a simpler relationship. Like your dog's not a lot of drama usually, or it doesn't talk back. And
they don't judge you.
Exactly.
They don't talk back. You don't have to ask them to eat vegetables. They don't ask for cell phones. You know, those things.
It's very.
That's true, but Roger is definitely judging me.
Is he judging?
It's okay.
It's not a long-term. It's
can you blame him?
Yeah, seriously. He's a judger.
Can you blame him? All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're back with weather and another look at that breaking news over on Central Avenue. The latest on that coming up in just a minute, right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, y'all. Highs right in the mid 70s today. 76 is the normal high. So really, I think we're hanging around either side of 70 degrees most of the day. This is just factoring in that you might have some drier air throughout the afternoon for some areas around the Charlotte area. But as soon as you get rain, that is rain-cooled air that's going to bring us right back down into the 60s. So keep that in mind. Now, it just depends. Over the last few days, some areas have received a lot of rain. Some areas barely any at all. I'm included, and I live in Northwest Charlotte. So this is what's going down today. I think our best chance for rain is really west of I-77, but we start to see some showers blossom right about mid to late afternoon. Any hour has a chance for a developing light rain shower, but I'm talking about the more widespread activity, seeing this activity starting to expand as we work our way into the evening. Some more hit or miss activity working your way into Friday morning. And then Friday heading into Saturday, we have a few more lingering rain chances. I think it's a better chance Friday evening, Friday night into Saturday morning with some spotty showers Saturday afternoon. Brittany, what's going on traffic-wise?
A lot of stuff. So we still have this shutdown here, Central Avenue between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue. This is due to an overnight crash that happened at 11 last night. A car crashed into Overton Row there. That's an apartment complex there in Plaza Midwood. Again, this area is still closed here. Central Avenue between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue. Use Charlottetown Avenue as a workaround. We'll have more updates on WCNC Plus.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We continue to follow that breaking news in Plaza Midwood, where we are waiting on Central Avenue to reopen after a late night crash.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live there. Richard, you've been there for a while now, but we can see Central Avenue behind you still very much closed.
That is correct, and we were hoping to tell you that it's reopened by this time, but it has not. I'm going to step out of the way to let you take a look at what's the progress so far. They have removed that car that had caused all of this confusion and the closure of Central Avenue between Louise and Hawthorne right here on Central Avenue. If you take a look right now, the Duke Energy crews are now going through the process of actually remove the car. Just in the last half hour, you saw that car actually being wheeled away as we were watching our stream about 30 minutes ago. Now Duke crews are removing those power poles that car ran into right before that car actually ran into the building. As you can tell, sometimes in the morning people are speeding as they're going on their way to work, and that car sped and crashed into that building, the Overton Row building right there here in Plaza Midwood, slamming into the building. Now when it did, it also took out 2 power poles, and when the Duke crews came, they had to reattach those poles and the lines, and that's what caused the power outage to about 450 customers, we're told, by Duke Energy. So they've gone through the process of reattaching, putting new poles in, of course, and then reattaching those power lines, making sure they're good. And now they're going through the process, as we come back here, of getting those power lines, those old poles that were destroyed, getting them out of the streets, and then hopefully within the next 30 to an hour or so, getting those lines opened up. Of course, this is a very busy intersection and a very busy throughway. Central Avenue is very busy way for folks to go this on their way into Charlotte every morning. So it's going to be a minute for the morning commute. We'll keep you updated on what happens and when this opens up on all of our media platforms. But for now, we're right here in Plaza Midwood. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
And Richard, remind us again, I mean, there's the density of sort of housing there and that apartment complex back there. I mean, this could have been, I know there's a bus stop as well, this could have been a lot worse.
Oh, absolutely a lot worse. I'll step out of the way. Ruben can zoom in again. Right where you see sidewalk closed, there are a number of benches there. If you look right by the cones, there are some benches that are still there where people sit on. Well, if you look just past those benches, that's where that car slammed into. There were benches right there. They're no longer there. People sit on those benches. A number of residents on different social media platforms that talk about that's where they would like to come and sit down. There were people walk up and down this area all the time. There are restaurants, bars, things like that where people like to come. This is a very popular area where over the years it's grown and grown even more. And this could have been a very sad story that we're reporting this morning, a very tragic story instead of just a very odd story, a headache for motorists and the morning commute. We could have been dealing with a lot different story this morning, one that could have had a very tragic results, but instead we're dealing with a story where fortunately we can say there was no loss of life. As for that person who was driving the car, we can say that person was taken into custody. Of course, we'll have updates on what happens with that person when police release more information on why that person was fleeing from CMPD and what charges he or she now faces. We'll have that for you coming up a little bit later. But for now, we're still in Plaza Midwood. We'll send it back to you.
You gotta check your forecast.
Thanks a lot, Ben and Lisa. Good morning to you. Here's what's going on. We have some showers that are really starting to flourish further off towards the west. One of my favorite things is we have a little lightning tool that pops up. Seeing these little pluses that pop up. A plus is a positive lightning strike. Those are the ones that are extra loud. We are seeing that around Spartanburg, so it shows this activity is growing. Backing up our forecast, really west of I-77 is going to be the wettest, and it just depends where you are. This is a very slow-moving line, still inching its way towards Rock Hill. I'm still anticipating that you could see a light rain shower here within the next 30 to 45 minutes, but this line also looks like it could be weakening, and our futurecast didn't even pick up on it. Did have some showers a little bit closer to Asheville. So oftentimes when I'm trying to look at models, it's like, which one is getting it right now? And that's this one. So this is one I chose. Don't need to know the name. All right, fine. It's the Graph 4K. We're looking at showers and thunderstorms off towards the west, especially between Morganton and Asheville, I would say, through the course of this morning. I might even extend that a little bit further east between Lincoln and Shelby. Then this line is going to push this way a little bit closer to home. Then we have a better chance up and down the I-77 corridor, really between about the mid to late afternoon hours. I'm not talking about any severe weather today. This is just on and off rain. You might hear a rumble of thunder, you might not. And Charlotte itself, I think if you were to pick a time frame that you have the best chance for passing showers and a thunderstorm, it's about the middle of the evening, right around sunset and beyond. Then we'll have some lingering rain. Notice that this rain doesn't really move quickly in or quickly out. This is the slowest moving rain that we have had so far of the last couple of systems. And then for your Friday doing a reset, we're going to see scattered showers. Good portion of the day staying dry for most of us, with another round of more of that heavier widespread rain heading into your Friday evening, Friday night into Saturday morning. But we're not done. We're almost done. This is Saturday at 8 a.m. Don't be surprised if it kind of looks a little bit gloomy to start off. The way I think things are going down, which are trending in a good direction, is that we could see a break in the clouds depending where you are by the early to mid-afternoon. Now, there's the slightest chance that we could have the sky darken up briefly, so you could have a quick downpour, but then that is going to be clear by the end of the day. So by the end of the afternoon, heading into the evening, it looks like we're going to be drying out. So yeah, it's not the most picture-perfect setup. Could have some morning rain, then we dry out, maybe a brief shower or storm, but I think only about 30 to 40% of us see those random scattered showers and thunderstorms during the afternoon before we start to clear out for the evening, and setting us up for a great day on your Sunday. So highs today, we have 74 degrees. I think we're dry for a good portion of the day here in Charlotte, just awaiting some of those rain showers. By the way, since that rain is so slow moving, if it starts raining, it could rain up to 2 to 3 hours, just depending. 61 degrees, so another mild start to tomorrow around Charlotte. 62 on Saturday, and then a little bit cooler in the 50s as we clear out our skies. Our rainfall chances, I think they're higher at night, but during the day, scatter over the next couple of days, then more isolated by your Saturday afternoon, as I showed you. So it's really tonight, or this evening and tonight, and then Friday evening and Friday night, I think most of the rain falls over the coming days. Some areas seeing over an inch, some areas barely seeing anything at all, as we've seen over the last couple of days. Our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, you can see a new icon here on the map. What's going on here? Well, the Gastonia Ghost Peppers, we had that voting all last year. That's the name that they decided on. Actually, you decided on through the polls. Well, that is going to be the official home opener at 7 o'clock on Friday. Slight chance for rain at that point. Charlotte FC, it's trending to be dry. Bring maybe a towel to dry your seat. And then Sunday is the pick of the weekend. No rain chances, mid-70s. And then through next week, on the way up to around 90 degrees. So we have temperatures all over the place, ranging by about 15 degrees. Brittany, you've had a very busy morning. What's the newest update? Oh, wait, no, we are going to pivot. We're going to go back to Ben.
Chris, thanks. New video overnight shows massive crowds still lining up to pay their respects to the late Pope. Take a look. St. Peter's Basilica remained open past midnight to allow thousands to see his body. Originally, they were going to close. Many waiting for hours to just enter the basilica. But people say the experience was surreal.
Yeah, walking in there, it was very emotional. I think he was a leader who really loved people, and I think he wanted to spread that message of just love and compassion. And walking in there, it was so silent, but you could feel how much people really cared about him and how much love there was for this man.
Something somebody would never forget. Now let's take a live look right now inside St. Peter's Basilica. Right there in the middle of your screen, you can see the red box. That's the coffin that the late Pope is in there in the middle of the church. You can see crowds, though. So many of them still coming in. The Pope will lie in state for 2 more days ahead of his funeral on Saturday. Meantime, local Catholics finding their own way of remembering the Pope. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard went to a special mass in Huntersville and shares how many honored the late Pope's dream.
Well, many people who came out not only reflected on the life of Pope Francis, but also on the mission that still remains, carrying on a legacy for the next generation. The sun, it beamed down on this church and spilled through these stained glass windows. But the brightest light wasn't the sun outside. It was the one glowing inside. The echoes and hymns representing not only a mass, but also a mirror, a reflection of the late Pope Francis, a reflection of the mission he stood for.
Where we're called to reflect upon the purpose and the meaning of this one man's life and how he has impacted all of us.
Pews filled with heavy hearts, their stories were different, but the faith in a leader like Pope Francis brought them here.
I admired and respected Pope Francis so much. He just was a people's pope, and he was for everyone.
Pope Francis represents something that we so much need in our lives every day.
To leave an imprint on all of us.
The message was clear. Live like Pope, a man they say was filled with faith even in his failing health.
This is a man who disregarded his doctor's last wishes, telling them that he felt he needed to be in the midst of the people on Easter Sunday.
Many were called to action to be of service and lead with love. Call that for many was not only heard, but also answered.
He's laid a lot of groundwork on how we need to move forward in society.
Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
8:11 now. An update this morning on the state Supreme Court battle between Jefferson Griffin and Allison Riggs. A federal judge is ordering election officials to wait before throwing out thousands of votes in the race for North Carolina's Supreme Court. It's a win for incumbent Democrat Allison Riggs. It comes weeks after another judge gave Republican Jefferson Griffin the green light to challenge those votes. For now, this new ruling blocks that decision. It allows Riggs to appeal and argue that tossing those ballots would violate voter rights. In Washington, President Trump signing several new executive orders taking aim at education.
He was in the Oval Office yesterday with his Secretary of Education as he signed more orders aimed at dismantling diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. One of the orders instructs the Education Department to stop efforts that ensure equity and discipline for public schools. Previous guidance directed schools not to disproportionately punish minority students. Former CMS teacher Annette Albright was in attendance there in the Oval Office for the signing. Now, back in 2016, there was some controversy over her release from the district after she stepped in to stop a school fight. Albright praised the president's actions.
I'm so honored to be here. This has been an 8-year journey for me to raise awareness to the violence that's in public schools and the critical need to address violence in public schools. Again, been doing it 8 years because most administrations like to keep the violence hidden. We have 3 students that should be here with us today. We have Austin McCaff, I'm sorry if I say his name wrong, Serenity Baker, and Nizir Taylor from Charlotte, North Carolina, who was shot in the back as he was getting off of a school bus because they thought he was a part of a big brawl that happened inside a public high school. So this is very important and critical legislation that we have to keep our educators safe, we have to keep our students safe, and public schools have to be safe environments.
These heroes, Mr. President, are extraordinary. This is my husband, Michael.
We brought you the entire announcement during our live Impact News stream right here on WCNC+. Of course, the app is free to download. This morning, we are learning more about what's next after a major health announcement from Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. after he was here in Charlotte yesterday and laid out a plan that could impact what your family eats. WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kate was there and learned how this plan could affect schools' funding.
Secretary Kennedy spoke with both food chemical and food packaging experts. Information, he says, will help him create more regulations. Those experts say those regulations could help with their sustainability goals, but it could also mean that enforcing them means more funding cuts. What goes in your food first goes through the FDA. In Charlotte Wednesday, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said he wants that process to be more strict.
To develop regulations that prevent new harmful chemicals from entering the market and break the cycle of toxic exposure.
During a Chemicals of Concern summit, he brought up Tuesday's decision to ban petroleum-based synthetic food dyes, including Red 40. This ban, just one of his planned changes to what goes into food and its packaging.
We're going to get rid of whole categories of chemicals in our food that we have good reason to believe are harmful to human health.
Experts in attendance, like the CEO of the Oceans Plastic Leadership Network, say moving forward with sustainability means bipartisan collaboration, but think the speed at which the administration is moving is positive.
We have good positive signs that there will be actionable steps in policy forward, not only ways to deregulate, but ways to regulate in a new format.
For schools that don't comply with the new food rules, Kennedy is promising funding cuts, and quick.
If you don't do it, you're not going to get NIH funding.
He announced a year from now. That could also include medical schools that don't include nutrition in their curriculum.
And so they're taught how to treat illnesses with drugs, but not how to treat them with food or to keep people healthy so they don't need the drugs. There's other gaps in their training that we're going to address.
A promise that means as food regulations get more rigorous, funding cuts will too. Now, Secretary Kennedy was not available for questions, but that dye ban is not a formal agreement. It's more, if he says, an understanding. So there's still questions about what happens to companies who do not comply. In Steel Creek, Julie Kay, WCNC Charlotte.
Happening today, the countdown is on, and the Panther fans out there watching closely.
We are just hours away from the NFL draft, and Carolina has some decisions to make. What the Panthers might do tonight is really anyone's guess. General Manager Dan Morgan said he might be willing to trade out the team's number 8 overall pick, but the Panthers will still likely make a pick in the first round. Everyone knows the Panthers need help on the defensive line. So some top names to watch if they still are available by the time it gets to pick number 8 might be Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham. And a name that we've heard a lot of is Georgia linebacker Jalen Walker. Now, he is a local star. He's from Salisbury, and he won the Butkus Award.
Of course, we will have you covered for tonight's big event. You can watch our special right here on WCNC+. The sports team is going to be joined by folks over at Locked On to bring special coverage later tonight, all kicking off at 7 p.m. Tell your friends and family and watch right here on WCNC+.
So pumped.
I know you're excited about this.
I'm not here tomorrow just because I wanted to stay up late.
Are you really?
Yeah, no, I took it off because I would be a miserable person because it goes until like midnight.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing about the draft is it not even just as an NFL fan, is you're literally seeing kids' lifelong dreams come true.
That is true.
Change in a second.
In a second,
Yeah.
and the emotion from the families that support them throughout that.
Yes.
Some of them literally have to do this the whole time because they realize that they're on national TV. It's such a joyous moment.
I've had the opportunity to witness that, like to be in a room with the kid waiting to get the phone call, and like the family there, the friends there, and with each passing time, you're like, are they going to call me? Are they going to call? I wasn't there when you got the call, but they're waiting for it.
It's like winning the lottery, but even better because it's actually based on merit. Like these people have worked hard. It's not just luck. They worked really hard to get this to this spot, and then it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't,
Oh, I know. There's always the moment that all of a sudden it's like, act happier. What are you doing? I know it's the last place team. Act happier right now.
I know.
Well, if you are going to be watching the draft, there's a slight chance for rain outside your window. But as I mentioned, we aren't just going to tell you the what and what's going to happen. We also are all about the why because we like to raise your weather IQ. So I want to answer this question that some people have been asking. It was like, why have some people had no rain this week? Well, there's been scattered rain all across the area. So I could answer just saying, well, it's scattered rain showers. That's the way it is. But we can go a little bit deeper in that. Check out our rain totals over the last 48 hours. Seeing a lot more around Spartanburg down towards the southwest. Barely anything around Concord and the Charlotte area. They saw a little bit of rain on Tuesday. But that's just the way it's been, where a lot of those showers have been stuck in one zone. It's really been west and southwest of us. So for a thunderstorm to happen, you need moisture, you need instability, aka rising warm air that is going to drive up that moisture, and usually something to lift it. So it can either be the daytime heating during the summertime, but usually this time of year you need some sort of front to drive it all up. And that's really been the biggest inconsistency that we've had here. Now, recently we've had a stationary front, but it also needs to line up with moisture the time of day. So it wasn't until just now that we had that stationary front slip its way down towards the south. If this has been stalled out directly over us, we would have been seeing a lot more widespread rain, but it's been mainly hanging down in South Carolina, and then sometimes right underneath it you can still have a lot of showers start to form leading up to it. It almost starts to ride uphill. So that's the main reason why we haven't seen widespread rain. Also, the moisture isn't off the charts. It hasn't been feeling super humid and overly sticky. Well, that's also changing. We're starting to creep in a little bit more moisture down towards the south, which is feeling more showers and thunderstorms right now as I am speaking. Some of them even reported some hail recently. So just keeping in mind that the further west that you go, especially I think along 321 and areas west, could have some thunderstorms as early as the next couple of hours. Moisture's not super crazy, but still enough to support some rain. We're not calling for any severe weather. This is just rain. Maybe you hear a rumble of thunder, so the usual dangers of thunderstorms. Taking a closer look at those showers and storms by about 9 o'clock an hour from now, I think you could have a couple of showers starting to form around Hickory, just this area in general, starting to blossom right along that front, and then a better chance for Charlotte maybe a little bit later on in the evening. So it's going to be another case and scenario today because that front is moving its way to the south, that some see rain, some see a lot of rain, and some don't see any at all. But on and off rain showers will continue through your Saturday. More on that in your 7-day forecast coming up. In the meantime, let's see what's going on around town with Brittany Van Voorhees. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too, Chris. It has been a really, really busy morning. Here's a live picture first. I-77 both north and southbound near mile marker, really between 4 and 5. That's Nations Ford Road and Tybola. Things are picking up a little bit more. South Boulevard at Old Pineville and Scaly Bark crash. This happened about 2 hours or so ago. We do have it confirmed that this was a motorcycle crash. Again, I mentioned this earlier in our newscast. It looked like this during some of the early images that we got, but they were very hazy, very foggy, and it was still dark. We know from Medic that one patient was transported with life-threatening injuries. Still working to get an update on that. The second thing I want to tell you about is once again Central Avenue East between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue still closed based on a crash that happened last night. This is at 11 o'clock. A car actually ran into the Overton Row apartment complex, which is in Plaza Midwood. Did cause some power outages earlier. Some of the power poles have been put up, new ones are fixed so far, but we haven't gotten an update lately as to how many of those power outages are out. Crews still working very hard, but for that reason, Central Avenue East is closed again between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue. Your best work around here is likely going to be to take Charlottetown Avenue toward Hawthorne Lane. You can avoid that issue altogether, and if you do need to hop back on Central Ave, that will give you an opportunity to do so. Another option, take 277 on the outer loop. The third incident I want to tell you about, this happened about 20 or so minutes ago in Uptown Charlotte. This is at 4th Street and Brevard Street in Uptown. There's an overturned vehicle. You can see that on the kind of middle and left-hand side of your screen. All lanes right now, or at least all left-hand lanes, I guess there's technically 2. Traffic is being diverted into the bus-only lane right now, but the left 2 are closed right now because of that crash. Again, that's the black car, if you can see that in the upper left-hand portion of your screen. Again, that is in Uptown, just about 2 blocks away from the Spectrum Center, to give you an idea of where that is. Last but certainly not least, getting some reports here of a potential gas leak. Ray Road, just west there of North Carolina 16. Looks like that is potentially near Old Providence Elementary School. Our team is working really hard to get more information on that. We'll provide updates for you again throughout the morning. So a lot of active incidents right now, so make sure you're using extra caution on the roadways today.
All right, Brittany, thank you so much for that. 8:23 now. A national company is stepping up to help local kids get new shoes. WCNC Charlotte's Larry Sprinkle was there to see the heartwarming donation.
And he shares why this is more than just a pair of new kicks for these kids.
There are hundreds of excited kids here at Walter G. Byers Elementary. They're getting a brand new pair of sneakers, compliments of Thomas's and Operation Warm.
We know the name Thomas's from their English muffins and bagels. Today, they've teamed up with the nonprofit Operation Warm to provide shoes for kindergarten through 6th graders in North Charlotte's Greenville neighborhood.
We want every kid to get a nice new pair of shoes, and it generates some excitement for them. It's a great atmosphere.
Feet are measured and sneakers are chosen.
I'm getting some new sneakers and I like them.
Erin Barksdale Cole is the principal at Walter G. Byers and says that over 30% of the students live in a homeless situation.
We have a large homeless population, but our kids are thriving. They are meeting and exceeding their goals, and they have just a lot of joy. And anything that we can do to make sure that they are supported and well taken care of, we'll absolutely do that.
Lozana Brew from Operation Warm says the organization actually manufactures what they provide in over 4,000 communities across the United States.
Our mission is just to provide warmth, confidence, and hope to kids in under-resourced schools. And it's priceless, man, to let them know that people care, that people care and that people are there that just to be there for them. We love to see them have a good time, smile, and have comfort, because that's big as a kid, to run around and have comfort.
Every kid with a new pair of shoes and a bag to go will leave the gym with a big smile.
A lot of them, it may be their first time getting brand new shoes. To feel like they are a normal student, they're not, being outcasted, they're not being seen as different, but they're seen equal across the board, and that they're not just a number, that somebody sees them, somebody understands them, and we meet our kids right where they are.
At Walter G. Byers School, Larry Sprinkle, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, this morning we've been talking about a new study that shows that humans are often closer to their pets, specifically dogs, than actually other humans in their lives. So we wanted to show all the photos you've been sending in this morning. Make sure we don't leave anybody out. We're going to take a break. Keep it right here as we continue to look at some of our favorite furry friends.
Well, good morning, everyone. We have low visibilities, mainly just in Union County and surrounding areas. Lower fog situations also across Mecklenburg County as well. So not the prettiest looking morning. Overall, it's going to be an overcast day today. Lower to the mid 60s. Don't expect these temperatures to move too much over the next couple of hours. Moving forward through the morning, we'll have some scattered rain, especially further off towards the west. Spotty showers and thunderstorms also possible during the middle of the afternoon, reaching low to the mid 70s across the area before we have another spurt of rain heading into the evening. Our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast shows temperatures on the up after today. 83 on Saturday, perfect spring day on Sunday before we're back to 90 on Wednesday. Brittany?
Traffic has been quite a roller coaster today, Chris. South Boulevard at Old Pineville and Scaly Bark right now in Lower South End is currently seeing some slowdowns due to an earlier motorcycle crash. A latest update from Medic was one patient transferred to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Our team continuing to work hard to get you updates on that. The incident that has been impacting Plaza Midwood all morning long is this one. A crash last night around 11 o'clock, crashed into the Overton Row apartment complex that's in Plaza Midwood, really between Plaza and Uptown. Did cause some power outages, but is also still currently closing Central Avenue East in both directions between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue. Your best workaround here is to take Charlottetown Avenue to Hawthorne Lane. You can go around it, eventually get back on Central Avenue if you need to. Other option here to take 277 on the outer loop. Just avoid that exit for Central Avenue with everything you can. We, of course, are continuing to track on WCNC Plus.
Streaming live right now at 8:30 here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We continue to follow that breaking news in Plaza Midwood, where Central Avenue is shut down after a late night crash.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is there. And Richard, we brought it to our viewers here on WCNC Plus as that car was hauled off by a record. But we still see an hour later that the road is still closed.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Ben. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lisa. Good Thursday morning, all. That's because Duke Energy crews are still removing the debris caused from that accident that that SUV, when it plowed into the apartment building, the Overton Row apartment building last night. Now, the Duke Energy crews have repaired the power poles that were damaged. They put new power poles up, but they're still in the process of removing the debris caused by those power poles that were knocked down. You see them right there, actually drilling new holes, I guess they're doing, but they're also removing those old power poles. That's going to take some time. So this part of Central Avenue is still closed. You see officers still on the scene directing traffic. It's going to cause some nightmares. It's causing nightmares, I should say. Folks in this building tell us that they actually got an email alerting them to the situation that happened last night when that car, that SUV, slammed into this apartment building. It caused some damage to the outside of the building. No residents apartment units were damaged from what we've heard. We still need to confirm that with the apartment managers here at the building. They did lose some electricity for a while. Duke Energy says that 450 customers were without power up and down this part of Central Avenue between Hawthorne and also Louise, where they've closed down the roads while they work to get this all wrapped up. Of course, it looks like they're going to be here for a while longer. Of course, when we get more information about this and when this road finally opens and the flow can go back to normal, we'll let you know. This is a busy road, and a lot of folks depend on this road to zip their way in and out of Charlotte. We'll let you in and out of Uptown. We'll let you know when it opens up, both on all of our social media platforms. But for now, we're right here in the Plaza Midwood section of Charlotte. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
And I know it's a headache for a lot of people, but of course the crews want to make sure that that power line is restored, that things are back to normal before they do open Central Avenue.
That's right. All right, Richard, thank you. Brittany's standing by. She's got her eye on this, and not just this. It's been a busy morning in the traffic department.
Yes, we're all over the place. Here's a view from kind of up top here from earlier, as of course that car SUV, as Richard mentioned, was being taken away. Central Avenue still closed again between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue. Your best workaround here is likely going to be either the 277 outer loop if you really desperately need or want to take the interstate this morning, although it is pretty slow. Charlottetown Avenue, though, to Hawthorne Lane will be your best bet if you're trying to get around that and you're heading out from Uptown through Plaza Midwood, maybe even toward Noda. If you're heading from that area into Uptown, you can take the same way, Hawthorne Lane, eventually getting on to Charlottetown Avenue. Now that, of course, that incident there in Plaza Midwood, a little bit further west in Uptown Charlotte, we have a new crash here reported just about an hour or so ago, 4th Street at Brevard Street. This is in Uptown. The crash, of course, caused this overturned car. Medic reported to be on scene. We're going to get more information here. It is currently closing the 2 left-hand lanes, which I guess are technically the only lanes here on 4th Street or on Brevard Street there at 4th Street. Traffic is being diverted into the bus-only lane right now, but it is causing some pretty significant slowdowns for those of you who do travel in and out of Uptown this morning. This is just about 2 blocks away from the Spectrum Center to give you some perspective on where that is in Uptown. We're taking a trip down South Boulevard to Old Pineville and Scaly Bark, where there was a crash earlier involving a motorcycle here, still causing some incidents in this area, some slowdowns in Lower South End. What we know from Medic here with this one is that 1 patient was transported to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. We're working again to get more information on that. Last incident I'll tell you about so far today is we're getting reports here of Ray Road right here just near the old Providence Elementary School of potentially some reckless, careless driving. That's on CMPD's website, but at the same time in the same general area, starting to see some reports from SIG Alert of a potential gas leak. Our team right now working to get more information on that, and I know Richard Devane is being sent there too, so we'll continue to bring you updates. Again, this is Ray Road just to the west of North Carolina 16 in the Providence area. So a lot of active incidents, a lot of active issues happening right now. Let's talk about something that maybe isn't active currently, but will be later.
Thanks a lot, Brittany. I know you have a lot going on, my friend. I'm so sorry. Take a breather, drink some water. We're looking at a decent amount of rain that's really expanding. So this is tough because oftentimes you can have your futurecast and models to say, hey, it's going to do this and this. It's not picking up on these morning bands of rain. It's been done a pretty poor job about that. So we just have to track them on our own. For one, they are moving at a snail's pace right now. It's taken forever for this band of rain to move from Chester County up to the middle of York County, and it looks like this is going to hold together. Before it looked like it was going to die out, but I do think that over the next hour to 2, it's going to fade out. But don't be surprised if you in Gaston County, Mecklenburg County, from Charlotte to around Uptown, will see some rain over the next hour or 2. As for you in Cleveland County, you're already seeing around Boyle Springs. Boy, is it really coming down. But I want to show you real quick, and I had to watch this very carefully. This is our most southern camera that we have for SCDOT in our viewing area. And I am actively seeing at least the middle range windshield wipers from some of these darker greens that are rolling in. Here is some torrential rain that's happening right here around Boiling Springs that is pushing towards Shelby. So Shelby, if you have light rain that's starting to come down or maybe a few sprinkles, it is about to dump on you over the next 20 minutes or so and could could last for a couple of hours. Again, this is going to be a really slow moving storm system, not just now, but for the rest of today. So if you get any rain today, it could linger for 2 to 3 hours depending where you are. So here's what our futurecast was. As I mentioned, sometimes they're going to line up, sometimes they don't. So it didn't pick up that rain. It did pick up a similar cell that was a little bit further off towards the west. I tried to grid adjust this, but I just really want you to show you that you're looking at a chance for showers and storms mainly west of 321. That cuts through Gastonia and Lincolnton, and it'll start to push its way further off towards the east through today. So I think Charlotte, you will have a chance for rain over the next couple hours, as I mentioned. Outside of that, you could have a spotty shower hit or miss, but talking about your best chance, the one that you don't want to really bet against, I would really say anything that after 5 to about 10 o'clock, that's where more rain starts to slide in. Again, it's going to be a really slow mover. So your afternoon rainfall chances, still a chance for an on and off shower or thunderstorm. This is the type of environment that's kind of a nightmare for me as a meteorologist, because I want to say it's going to rain from this time to this time. This is how you're going to plan your day. Mother Nature is doing what Mother Nature wants to do. So I might be able to show you where we're seeing some of the more popular bands of showers. The ones in between, those are really tough to forecast. 74 degrees for a high today. I think we have a lot of the lower 70s that are mixed in here for the peak. And then overnight rain chances, and then Friday's evening and overnight rain chances are a little bit higher than some of those others. So keep that in mind. But when are we done? It's been a lot of on and off rain. Not everyone has seen rain every single day, but our rain chances at least are going to end by your Saturday afternoon. We have some passing showers, a couple of thunderstorms. I think all that is done before the first whistle begins for the Charlotte FC match. Perfect day, dry. I'm going to be grilling out on Sunday. Maybe you'll join me. And then right around 90 degrees the middle of next week. So temperatures all over the place and heading into another dry pattern, which will be broken by next Thursday. Be advised.
Thanks. 8:38 right now on WCNC Plus, and happening today, Charlotte Douglas, of course, one of the busiest airports in the country, and it's about to get even busier. This weekend, the airport is hosting a major job fair with dozens of employers looking to hire on the spot. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live right here on WCNC Plus with what you need to know. Destiny.
Yeah, one of the busiest airports, one of the largest employers in the region, and they are hiring. This Saturday, the airport is opening up the doors of Bojangles Coliseum on Saturday for its annual job fair, and they're hiring for a multitude of positions. Now, Charlotte Douglas supports more than 184,000 jobs across the Carolinas, and that number is only expected to grow. Job seekers will find positions ranging from part-time and seasonal roles to full-time and management-level jobs. More than a dozen employers will be hiring, including American Airlines, PSA Airlines, the TSA, the City of Charlotte's Aviation Department, as well as retail and food service partners. Now, the airport officials could not speak to the specific hiring needs of their tenant partners or federal agencies like the TSA, but the rapid growth of CLT and its recent global ranking as the 6th busiest airport shows just how high the demand is for new talent.
We constantly want to keep up with the demand as the airport grows. We are constantly looking for candidates that will help our operations, to construction, to our customer experience, to our department position. So we're really excited about the opportunities that we have.
And again, the job fair is not here at the airport, but at Bojangles Coliseum this Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. And organizers say to just dress business casual, bring multiple copies of your resume, and be prepared for those on-site, on-the-spot interviews, conditional offers, as well as some drug testing that may take place at the event. And of course, we have more information on this story on the WCNC Charlotte News app. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Charlotte Douglas this morning.
Yeah, so if you show up at the airport, you're going to end up disappointed because there are no jobs happening there. Bojangles. All right, Destiny, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
A night out turned into a nightmare for one Charlotte woman after she says a security guard brutally assaulted her at an uptown bar. Sabrina Campbell says she was out celebrating with friends over the weekend at the Imperial when things took a turn. She tells us they walked off to use the restroom, but when she and her friends tried to return to their spot, the security guard allegedly refused to let them by.
He was like, y'all can't go past, y'all can't go past. And I'm like, why can't we go past? All I remember after that point was him grabbing my arms and my face hitting something hard.
Campbell says she blacked out after that and had multiple injuries, including a concussion. The bar has since reached out to her with an apology, but Campbell says that's not enough. She says she did talk to police and now wants this investigated to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else.
A 17-year-old facing charges this morning after the deadly shooting of a 16-year-old. It happened Tuesday night at a Quick Trip in Rock Hill. WCNC Charles Siobhan Riley spoke with city leaders who are seeking solutions to steer teens away from violence just like this.
This father of a 7-year-old thinks about how any parent would feel after learning a 16-year-old was shot and killed.
It's really 2 lives lost, you know, because it's, of course, you have the life that was taken and then you have the life that was given away, thrown away, because of now the consequences they're going to have to face for those momentary, you know, reactions that they had.
The victim was Jaden Reed. The suspect charged as an adult in this case is 17-year-old Carnell Mike. James Ford, the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club of York and Chester counties, works hard to intervene in the lives of young people before it's too late.
What you can't do is you can't undo what you do when you take someone's life.
Ford spoke with us over Zoom while out of town. He hopes kids don't have to go through what he did growing up, where he saw teens going to jail for murder and much more.
But I have mentors, and when those little forks in the road, I had somebody that I could fall back on or think about. Sometimes you don't want to disappoint people.
That's why Ford makes sure kids in his community have a safe place to go after school. They come here to the Teen Center, where the majority of the middle school students can catch the bus after class. Each student is required to answer questions about some of the challenges they face.
I had some interesting answers. You know, I had anything from my parents don't really care about what I do, so I do what I want to do. I had some that was just, they felt so loyal to a gang.
People we spoke to said it's time for parents to be parents and do their part so that another young person doesn't lose their life.
We do have to educate our kids and give them a place where, you know, we recognize that things like this shouldn't be the norm. You know, we should never feel
Siobhan Riley reporting for us there. Ford also requires students to complete an exit interview. The center is free for teens to use.
It seems that just about everywhere you look, something new is coming to the city of Kannapolis. That's because the city is seeing explosive growth. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, 40 new businesses have opened in the downtown area. But rapid growth is also creating some growing pains, especially for the city's infrastructure.
In 2021, July of 2021, our Water Sewer Authority of Cabarrus County, WASAC, actually made us aware that we had some constraints, and that's all jurisdictions that WASAC serves. And Kannapolis is 30% of what's processed at that station there. So we actually were made aware that we were going to be limited. So we started proactively planning for allocation for any future projects.
According to Smith, there are 2 expansions planned for the sewer system. One is currently underway. The other will still need to be addressed down the road. That means any future developments won't be able to start for at least 3 to 5 years. The city adds it has just under a dozen developments waiting for allocation right now.
8:45 right now here on WCNC Plus. And let's go to some live pictures inside St. Peter's Basilica. This is at the Vatican, where crowds still coming in by the thousands to say goodbye to Pope Francis. You can see his body there lying in state in the middle of your screen. He will stay there through tomorrow evening. Then, according to church law, his coffin will be closed ahead of his funeral on Saturday. NBC's Jay Gray now at the Vatican with a closer look at the ongoing 9 days of mourning.
The line stretching from St. Peter's Basilica winds through and around its famous square thousands, waiting for hours to spend just a few seconds inside.
Walking in, it's such a surreal place, and it's very holy, and seeing the body and just remembering everything that he stood for is very important.
Important for so many, remembering the humility, kindness, and commitment to the less fortunate and disenfranchised, they say, defined Pope Francis.
He's somebody very close to our hearts, somebody who made the church very accessible to everybody and inclusive to everybody, and like a family member for us. Yeah.
For his church family, specifically 135 Catholic cardinals, his passing brings with it the difficult responsibility of deciding who among them will take his place.
We have to wait to pray and to have our meetings, and then afterwards we decide.
Those meetings, the highly secretive conclave behind the locked doors of the Sistine Chapel. Many here hopeful they will elect a new pope who will continue the mission and message of his predecessor.
And he taught us all how to be Christians and to be human. And we want Pope Francis II now.
As they honor the original. As the first South American and Jesuit elected pope, he took the name Francis to honor St. Francis of Assisi, a 13th century saint, known for his poverty, humility, and pursuit of peace, setting the tone for his 12 years as the leader of the Catholic faith. Jay Gray, NBC News at the Vatican.
Breaking overnight, Russia launching one of its most devastating bombardments on Ukraine since the war began. The combined missile and drone attack killed at least 9 people and injured more than 70. The attack triggered fires, smashed buildings, and buried people under rubble in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. At least 6 children are among the injured. An air raid alert was in effect in the capital for 6 hours. The attack came hours after President Trump said he believed he had struck deals with both sides to end the war.
Well, good morning, everybody. How you doing? Check it out. Dallas camera. This was like being 1,450 feet in the air. I know. Hopefully you're not afraid of heights. And this is the cool thing. As a meteorologist, I'm geeking out just the fact that you can see about 1,000 feet up this deck of clouds. That's pretty crazy, right? And Charlotte Motor Speedway, you can actually see some of the bends off in the distance. Things doing a whole lot better across our Mr. Sparky Carolina camera network. But what's going on right now rain-wise? This is one thing that Futurecast models are not really picking up on. So we've seen a really slow moving line that's expanding. Boiling Springs is pouring for you. Now just south of Rock Hill, really seeing the rain come down as it has been for a couple hours now here in Chester County. This eventually is going to die out because it's going to lose its energy source, which is this front that's ramping everything up. However, it's not going to be right away. So if you are watching from Rock Hill, Fort Mill, it's within the hour that you're going to see that rain turn into nothing to about a heavy rain shower on and off. And I think this could reach the southern part of the 485 loop over the next couple of hours before dying out. And then we just wait for the next one to arrive. That's the type of environment. But one big thing about today, this front is really going to stall out. And that means that any rain that we see is going to be a slow mover. So that could add up in a hurry. So some areas will see barely anything at all. Some areas will see over an inch today. Around the 72, 74 degree range for our afternoon highs today. Don't expect a lot of sunshine. Overall, the clouds are going to win out. For your evening out forecast, I think our highest chance for rain is really right around the middle of the evening after the sun sets. And I'll show you that here shortly. And then by tomorrow, we still have some spotty rain showers on and off throughout the day. The mid 70s for the afternoon. I think you see a few more bright spots for your Friday before we have more rain through the overnight. I want to talk about the smiling sky. You've probably seen this on social media saying, hey, you're going to see the moon, a couple of planets making a smiley face. Now you're going to have to use your imagination because here's what it looks like. At some of our model runs, this is showing between about 5:45 and 6:15. I think this is one of the best times to see it because it's really between 5:15 and 6:15 that you can see this. Now it's a very small smile, so it's kind of someone going like, not really much of a smile. Saturn and Venus would be visible, but of course, Venus is going to be a lot brighter than what Saturn is just by distance alone. So that's what it's going to look like. So it's technically true. Not saying that it's a big false claim. I just think it's a little overhyped because that's what you're going to be seeing. Not really a big noticeable difference. Over the next 36 hours, I think rain is going to be most populous off towards the west as it has been between Asheville and Hickory. I'm going to include Shelby, Gastonia, and Lincolnton right in the mix a little bit later on this morning. But this system eventually is going to slide its way further off towards the east. A lot of hit or miss activity. As a meteorologist, I don't like this forecast because it's really tough for me to say it's going to rain at your house at this point. I like lines. I like systems moving from west to east. This is what happens when they stall out. They kind of have a mind of their own. So we kind of give it our best guess. Be prepared and have the umbrella. So that on and off rain will continue, but I think we're seeing the most widespread rain for at least the Charlotte area in the I-85 corridor the middle of this evening, and that's going to continue overnight. Heading into tomorrow, on and off rain, on and off rain. rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And then we're going to hit another little bit of a dry slot in the middle of your Friday. And then this should be the major final pass of those showers that we're going to see going forward. By your Saturday afternoon, we have one last front that moves through. That's going to cool us down. We have a quick jump to the lower to the mid 80s, the mid 70s, feeling like spring on Sunday, and then boom, nice little warm up to right around 90 degrees. There is your 7-day forecast, everything you need to know weather-wise. There's a lot to know traffic-wise. It's been a busy morning for Brittany.
It certainly has, Chris. Okay, so this is what we still have going on right now. Again, in Plaza Midwood, Central Avenue currently shut down between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue. Big thoroughfare for folks heading in and out of Plaza, Central Avenue eastbound. What happened is last night around 11 o'clock, a car crashed into this apartment complex, which is Overton Row. That again is in Plaza Midwood. What we know is that the driver was taken into custody. That's what Richard Duvane has been reporting all morning. So we'll continue to bring you updates here throughout the day. Again, Central Avenue East at Hawthorne Lane. Two options here to get around. I think the best one personally is Charlottetown Avenue, taking it to Hawthorne. Eventually you can get on Central Avenue and keep heading eastbound if you need to. Otherwise, you can stay on Hawthorne Lane and take it all the way north or southbound wherever you need to go. Another option, 277 on the outer loop. Just avoid that exit for Central Avenue, really with everything that you have. Second incident active still, South Boulevard at Old Pineville and Scaly Bark. Old Pineville kind of turns off here as you're heading into parts there of Lower South End, whereas Scaly Bark, of course, is taking you to Park Road, more so toward Myers Park. Now, we know that this incident was involving a motorcycle and that someone has been transported, most likely the person on the motorcycle, to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. No updates as of late, but again, we will continue to bring those here on WCNC Plus, as well over on our WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Something else we're also monitoring in the Providence area right now, just west of Highway 16 here in the Providence area near Ray Road and Windy Hill Road there, right near the old Providence Elementary School. We're getting multiple reports here of a potential gas leak, but also multiple reports of a potential reckless or careless driving incident. So again, our team is working to get more information. Both Richard and his photographer Ruben are heading to that scene right now.
We leave you this half hour with a look at some of our favorite furry friends you've been sending in. It's because we told you about new research showing dog owners experience greater relationship satisfaction with their dogs than they do their family or friends. So we said, you know what, why not take a look at some of your favorite dogs out there. It's been a while since we did this, and the best part, we've included the names this time, which I think is a nice little
I love that, of course. And the description's like my sweet Marley there.
Of course, because I bet Marley's sweet.
I'm sure Marley is.
Miss Lola.
Love it. Wyatt, Henry.
Ooh, Hattie. I like that.
With the prince.
Now, I'm hoping we've been through this a few times, because listen, when we ask you to send in pictures, we know you want to see them. That's part of the deal. So, love Hattie, Bernie's mountain dog, but I know we've seen her before, so I want to make sure, Simba, we've seen you too, buddy, so I want to make sure we get past some of these, because if you send them in late, you might not have seen them. So let's do this. Let's stick with this. Keep on flipping through them in the control room, because we want to make sure we get to Mr. Maxwell as well, all of them as we possibly can. Coming up in just about 2 minutes, we're going to have to check your weather and traffic. And then keep it right here. Coming up 9 o'clock, live Impact News Stream coming your way right here on WCNC Plus.
So make sure you stay with us, but just enjoy it. I mean, this is something that makes you smile. What a great start to
What's not to like?
Thursday, right?
Keep them coming.
Malcolm says good morning. Thank you. Good morning, Malcolm. Happy lives up to his name. Look at that.
Oh, that's so cute.
So sweet.
I'm
Her
seeing
name
a lot
is Coco.
I'm seeing a lot of photos that are likely treat-induced because some of the.
I was thinking the same
I was
thing.
like, everyone's so attentive. I wonder why.
They smile for the camera.
What a cute little cocker.
Oh, that's amazing. I love when dogs do that with their back legs. Little
Except
frog
if
legs.
they know, right?
Lady is certainly a lady.
Kinsey. Well, we hope that you have a wonderful Thursday. And remember, keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everybody. Temperatures in the lower to the mid 70s for highs today. On and off rain possible today, tomorrow, and then ending on Saturday. Check it out. You're going to see on and off showers, really peaking, I think, by about the middle of the evening. Temperatures on the rise, mid 70s on Friday, low to the mid 80s on Saturday. A beautiful spring day on Sunday, best day of the weekend, but close to 90 degrees the middle of next week. Brittany, what's going on? It's been busy for you.
Yes, it has certainly been a really busy morning. Biggest impact we still have in Plaza Midwood. Central Avenue eastbound is currently shut down still between Hawthorne Lane and over toward Louise Avenue. This is because of that overnight crash, which happened at 11 o'clock. Essentially, car hit this apartment complex, Overton Row in Plaza Midwood, caused some damage to power lines and caused widespread power outages, which is why Central Avenue East, again, between Hawthorne Lane and Louise Avenue, is currently shut down. Expected to take a few more hours potentially. We'll continue to monitor this, of course, throughout the morning. Charlottetown Avenue heading up into Hawthorne Lane is going to be your best workaround. And then we're still working to get more information on the motorcycle crash that happened in Lower South End earlier this morning.